Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot with a general reading for Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Today I'm using the Tarocchi Minchiate di Bomarzo by Amparo Aguirre. I have already done quite a bit of shuffling, but I'll do a little bit more. This is a Minchiate deck, which means it has the elements, earth, air, fire, and water cards, as well as zodiac cards. And then also the majors are in a slightly different order. The spread that I'm using today is the Fourfold Vision spread. I've used this once before when I was doing a deep dive on the William Blake Tarot. This spread is by Ed Buryn, the creator of that deck, for that deck, but it's also just it's a nice spread about the way we see things and not seeing things superficially. Sometimes someone asked me whether I get a large sensation, and it really depends. When I'm looking for a sensation from the three piles, sometimes I get definitely more warmth from one deck. Sometimes I get a little bit of a tingling from one deck. Today, you could see I went back and forth a little bit more, and that's because I wasn't getting an extreme difference, but this one gave me a little bit more of a tingle. And that's how I chose. So this is a 5-card spread. The first one is the problem or issue. Seeing with the eyes. Seeing through the eyes. Seeing creatively, emotionally, and seeing through God's eyes. So the first, someone would call this the main focus. He calls it the problem or the issue. And here you have a perfect example of how the numbering is different in this Minchiate deck of the majors. This is the Pope of Love, or the Love card. You have Cupid flying and shooting his arrow at these lovers here. So the issue is going to be about love today. So the first card is seeing through the eyes. This is the most superficial way of viewing this. And interesting, justice. So the traditional love card is about a choice. And in many of the historic decks, it shows a male making a choice between a good woman and a bad woman. Those are in air quotes, and that he is choosing the good woman. Justice, once again, is about a decision. So if you are having an issue with love, you're going to be making a decision, and you have things that you have to weigh in your choice, whether this is a current relationship or whether this is a relationship you're about to embark on, and you have to be willing to cut ties. So if you are not willing to cut ties, you're really not able to make a choice. Seeing through the eyes, a personalized image, the mind's eye. And this is the Queen of Cups. So in your mind's eye, you are fully in control of your emotions. This is probably something that you know, but you may not always act on it. You have say over your emotions. You are warm. You are caring. You are concerned about the welfare of others. You have growth coming from the cup of your love. You are a sustaining force for others. And because of that, you have to be willing to make a decision. And you have to own your own maturity and your own capability. The threefold vision is seen creatively, thought in emotional form. This is the Empress Pope. Wow, look at all this feminine energy we've got going on here. This is, in this deck, there are considered to be 5 popes. The Magician is one of those popes. Love is the last of these popes. The Empress is the second of those popes. She is now, in some decks that would be considered the High Priestess, but in this one it would be, there's a different card that relates better to that. So this is really the Empress energy. She looks as if she might be a little pregnant. Again, you have all of these marvelous, supportive, loving qualities, but you also have this complete control of self. You have the maturity. You may not always count on it, but you have the maturity, you have the control in this loving relationship. And sometimes, if perhaps this loving relationship is not about romance, perhaps this is children. And if that is the case, then you know that there are times when you need to use the sword. You need to have strong discipline and make firm decisions, even if they're not popular, much as an empress would have to. This also speaks to the card itself, in addition to the placement in this spread that speaks to thought and emotional form, values stimulated by this. That's the placement in this spread. But this card in itself speaks to your internal ability to internalize these thoughts and control your thoughts and be at peace with your own self. This could be the kind of the height of discretion, is that you don't have to tell everyone what your emotions are. You don't have to explain yourself. Only if you choose to do you do that. But you have a peace within yourself with your emotions. And finally, seen through God's eye, looking at it through a larger perspective. And that is temperance. Temperance that goes back to balance. These cards often play off of each other. Wow, look at the strong feminine energy in this reading. How inspiring. This is, again, sometimes this is mixing the water with wine. And the reason that was done was to purify the water, and so that you didn't get drunk, but instead you had a refreshing liquid that enabled it to be purified. So that's all wrapped up here in this temperance card, is that you need to leaven things, you need to mix things so that they are appropriate to the situation. Take that step back and look at the situation from the larger perspective, and you see all through here, you completely have the ability to control yourself and to control your responses and to leaven the situation and to blend the situation so that it is for the greatest good of all. The Fourfold Vision Spread by Ed Buryn, the creator of the William Blake Tarot. This is Cara from Cara Tarot, using the Tarocchi Minchiate di Bomarzo by Amparo Aguirre. For general reading, for Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. I think it would be hard for this not to speak to all of us. But if it has a particular meaning for you today, I hope this encourages you and strengthens you to rely on yourself and your best, both your innate inner wisdom and your more external wisdom. Have a strong, confident, capable day. Thank you.